everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Canto Be Like, a Cantonese and English bilingual podcast helping you to learn Cantonese and Hong Kong culture. Today, we are going to talk about something really heavy for me and for the all of Hong Kong that happened in the recent week, which is the Taipo fire tragedy. I'm sure many of you, as you are interested in Hong Kong culture and Cantonese, have heard about this latest fire tragedy. And I feel I have to say something about it and maybe make aware of this situation to those that are not aware yet. And for those people who are following the development of the incident, I do want to share maybe my personal thoughts and what it's like in Hong Kong at the moment from a more first-hand or maybe second-hand perspective. I do have reservation about filming and voicing my opinion about the issue at this moment as the rescue effort is continuing and is a very heavy and traumatizing event for all of Hong Kong, and of course especially for those that are involved. But I do feel it's right to say something about it and discuss about it. But before I start, I do want to say opinions are all mine, and it's just my thoughts and my perspective, and it doesn't necessarily represent wider population. That's one thing. And another thing is, of course, I'm not a journalist. I am just an independent podcaster, and I don't work in media and investigation, and I don't have any first-hand information on the issues. I mostly consume the information through South China Morning Post, so Hong Kong's largest English newspaper. So most of my figures and the facts and information I got, I refer to these sources, like South China Morning Post. And if I happen to say something that's not the most accurate or precise, do let me know in the comment, and I will try to, I'll try my best. But so without further ado, let's get started. So I am recording on Sunday the 30th of November, and it's around 4 in the afternoon. And as of now, 128 people, including a firefighter, are confirmed dead, with 79 injured, including 12 firefighters. And the most alarming thing is there are still 150 people with their status unclear, so they could still be trapped in the building, but hopefully they're just somewhere else. And that's just to give you a quick overview of the latest development and how serious the issue is. So I guess I will try to give you an idea of how the incident got to the current situation. So on Wednesday, November 26th, there was a fire in Taipo, Wang Fuk Court, New Territories, and the fire was first reported at one of the 8 buildings. I think it was Wang Cheng House. So people reported that the green mesh netting outside the bamboo scaffolding of the tower was on fire. So it was initially classified as a number 1 alarm fire. It was about 2:51 p.m. on November 26th, but it was soon escalated to number 3 alarm fire at 3:02. Then it was escalated to number 4 alarm fire at 3:34 p.m. And that was when the firefighter at the scene lost contact with his team, and he was rescued after half an hour but declared dead at around 4:45. The flame and the smoke quickly spread across at least 5 adjacent buildings, and a lot of ambulances and firefighters and related personnel like rescue teams were dispatched, and of course residents were being evacuated. At 6:22 p.m. on the same day, it was escalated to number 5 alarm, the highest level in Hong Kong, as the fire rages. So I've seen some videos, and it was just bamboos, debris, and like things falling off the building, and the whole estate was basically on fire. So the situation continued, and more aides and personnel were sent to the scene. And at midnight, November 27th, the death toll was at 36, and 279 people were missing. So that was the first day, and you can tell from the timeline, like almost around 3:30, and then 4, and then 6. You can see how quickly the fire spreaded in the estate, and how it took lives so quickly, and it's just seized everyone by complete surprise. Like, we were shook. We didn't see it coming. Like, nobody saw it coming. And the next morning, the second day, the 28th of November, the fire was reported under control in 4 of the 7 affected blocks. And then the death toll kept rising as the firefighters advanced upwards in the building. So they were doing 1 level, and then 2nd level, 3rd level, and then they had to keep doing it one by one, and then keep extinguishing the fire. So the people at the higher levels were being reached at a later time, simply because of the location. Like, even the aerial ladders couldn't reach that high, and the scale of the fire was just so large that it was very hard to for the evacuation and rescue effort to continue and advance. So it was just the most helpless feeling for everyone, especially the firefighters, I think, because it's just very desperate, and you feel like your hands were tied, and everyone was just sitting there and thinking, oh my god, like, how could something like this happen to innocent people like them? So the rescue effort continued, and more volunteers and NGOs and governmental efforts and personnel were being deployed to Taipo to help out the situation, especially with the people whose home had been burned down. And on Friday afternoon, the death toll rose to 128, with 79 injured, and status of 200 people remain still uncleared. It was very sad that some bodies were so destroyed that they were unidentifiable, and there were like a lot of forensic police effort to help people to identify their loved ones that were trapped in the fire. So that was what happened in a nutshell. And even on Saturday and Sunday, of course, the rescue effort continues, and more people are being mobilized to help the residents at Wangford Court. But that's the gist of the incident. So the first thing I would like to address after giving you an overview of the event is the bamboo scaffolding, which I don't think would be a surprise to you all, because I think if you have a friend or if you know someone from Hong Kong, you've probably seen their Instagram or their social retweet, or like them posting something about the bamboo scaffolding being scapegoated for the fire. So bamboo scaffolding is our cultural heritage, and in Hong Kong, because of how densely populated it is and how flexible, strong, and cheap bamboo is compared to steel and aluminum. Bamboo as a material is actually very resistant to ignition, and it's because it contains a lot of moisture in it. I mean, it is fibrous, and it's that actually not that easy to be. A lot of Hongkongers are enraged. I don't think it's an understatement to say we're enraged by the fact that bamboo scaffolding is being scapegoated the first instant, because it was the norm of construction projects in Hong Kong, and even if it was replaced by metal scaffolding, the same issue bamboo is being accused of, like the bamboo debris falling down escalated the spread and the intensity of the fires. And when bamboo scaffolding is burned, the structural integrity is undermined. Authorities were calling for a transition from bamboo to metal scaffolding, which I don't have the expertise to say if it was right or wrong, but to my understanding, the Notre Dame fire used metal scaffolding as well, and the same issue still happened. That's one. And the other thing is, metal and steel, like aluminum, are way heavier than bamboo, so it would also compromise the structural integrity of the building itself. And arguably the collapse of Notre Dame was partially because of the extra weight of the metal scaffolding. So my point being, I'm not trying to say make a decision or make things political or anything. I just want to say we shouldn't jump to the conclusion to replace and phase out bamboo and scaffolding. I think it's wiser that we wait a bit and see the whole picture and decide from there whether we should phase out bamboo and transition to steel scaffolding as soon as possible, as the authorities suggested. And with that said, although bamboo scaffolding was indeed used in the 8 buildings in Wang Fu Court during the renovation, it was tested that the green mesh covering the bamboo scaffolding, which was supposed to act as a fire-resistant material, did not pass the test. So basically, the fire retardation property of the green mesh was at the subpar standard, so that could contribute to the spread of fire because the mesh was supposed to stop the fire, but it wasn't doing its job. So that was one thing. And another thing was a lot of the windows were covered in styrofoams, partitions, to, I think it was to stop the noise or for some reason to use during the renovation. So a lot of windows had styrofoams. And as you know, styrofoam is just a form of plastic. And plastic is hydrocarbon, which is simply the same crude material as oil, so highly flammable. And that also contributed to the spread of the fire. And I feel not a lot of people talked about these facts, and it's like a compounding effect on top of the bamboo scaffolding. But it wouldn't be fair to just say, the bamboo scaffolding is solely responsible for the spread of the fire, is my point. There's been a lot of posts, reports, and debates about the accountability and responsibilities of the incident. There are a lot of different perspectives and stories and narrative, and I don't think I'm qualified enough to comment or give you an overview on that. I think if you are interested, there are a lot of content online from different sources, so I guess you can pick one and choose and listen, and that's up to you. But I think my job here is to give you a first or second hand or maybe 1.5 hand account of what it's like to be a Hong Konger at this point, and what's like to maybe I don't think I'm qualified to speak for the victims and their families, but I want to give you a sense of what it's like for us in the city right now, and potentially what's like to be involved in the situation. So me personally, I live very close to Wang Fu Court, maybe just 15 minutes from the bus, and my parents are actually helping out at the scene since Thursday. So the thing broke out on Wednesday, and they were deployed on Thursday because they work for the government. So I do hear some raw and unfiltered perspective from them, and how people are coping or maybe not coping. And first, the victims, like, it was so helpless for them in the building, because in the beginning they still had access to their phone, like connection weren't cut off. They were calling the police, they were calling the firefighter, they were calling so many times, but everyone wanted to help, but it was just so hard to get to where they are. And the desperation and the frustration and how scary and horrible it is just cannot be explained by words or from me. It's their experience. I don't have the rights to tell their story, but I think you can imagine how scary it is for the family and for the victim. And so I won't talk too much for that because it's not my story to tell. But for a general public perspective, for Hongkongers, so basically all the media I consume, TV, radio, news, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, like everything. And it's just basically about the fire right now. I was at the restaurant just now with my family, actually just my grandma, because my parents are still working at the scene. So me and my grandma were having lunch, and every single one in the restaurant, every single family was talking about the fire. That's how preoccupied we are with the incident. And news updates and things were being played on the TV, and people were just listening to it so attentively. I think that's also why a lot of people volunteered to go to Taipo. Like, a lot of people take day off, or like they go after work or whatever, or they take their mattresses, they take their duvet, they take whatever they have at their homes, and they just rush to Taipo. And it was heartwarming to see the effort and like how much people wanted to help, how much people cared. I have a lot of friends and family overseas, and they felt another sort of helplessness. Like it was like Hong Kong on fire, but they couldn't help. You know what I mean? Like, my friends were like, oh my god, like, can they set up some form of donation quickly so we can help out a bit, or maybe like just I want to do something. That's how everyone felt about the incident. So yeah, I actually want to raise awareness towards a group of people, the survivors, like the residents. So Wang Fu Court is actually what we call a 老人村, an old people estate. So a lot of people who live there for like 30 plus years, and it's their retirement home, and now it's burnt to nothing. So they need a lot of help, and there's still no clear resolution and direction. I mean, fair enough, it's still early stages. 4 or 5 days in. So we still have time to think about that. But these people also need a lot of support and a lot of help. And I saw some interviews with the survivors, the residents. It was just, I cannot imagine the amount of trauma, PTSD, and the actual financial burden on them to rebuild their house. Like, I remember one old man, he got interviewed and he was so calm. He was just saying it with such acceptance. I think maybe that's something that comes with age, I don't know. He was very calm about it, but his voice, his face, his expression broke my heart. It was like his life's work and effort went to nothing. It was all burned down. And yeah, so I think we need to, as a society in Hong Kong, need to come up with a way to help these people to settle and make sure they are well and safe after we finished with the rescuing. So yeah, that's another thing I truly wanted to put out there. With that said, let's talk a bit about donation and ways to help. So donation channels and like donation of aids and materials was set up very quickly after the initial developments. So I think on day 3 or maybe day 4, the government said like, oh, we will set up a 300 million fund, like with an initial fund of 300 millions to help rebuild the homes for these people. And it was soon followed by a lot of donations from corporate, and the government also set up donation channels to the funds for the general public. So if you feel you want to help with the situation, the incident, I think maybe the easiest way is to consider a donation. I mean, there are a lot of choices to different funds. You can choose a big NGO like Red Cross, or I don't know, any organization you think you can trust, or maybe the government fund. But I do have a word of warning, because a lot of despicable, like I would say, these people are just scums, and they scam people to donate. They would pretend they're legitimate organizations and scam people into donating. So if you do decide to make a donation, be sure you chose a trustworthy, legitimate source. And another way to help is you can consider fostering the animal rescued at the scene. So I think there are a lot of animal-related organizations working on that. So a word of warning again, be sure to choose a trustworthy organization. And the final thing I want to remind everyone is that maybe consider being proactive to check your building's fire sprinkler and fire alarm system, because one of the cause of the fire was because the system and the sprinklers weren't working at the buildings, so it was making the rescued and the putting out the fire very difficult. So you can be proactive and check with your building and your property management. That's one thing. And another is maybe consider investing in a home fire extinguisher or fire extinguishing equipment, so that when there's a small fire or like when a fire just started, you can put it under control ASAP. So yeah, those are just some things you can consider. So I think that's the end of today's episode on Taipo's fire tragedy. I apologize for getting quite emotional, and the structure of the episode might not be as well as the other ones, because I'm a bit scatterbrained these couple of days. So to bear with me, and thanks for paying attention to what's been happening in Hong Kong. It means a lot to us, and yeah, I will see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.